Today, we've got some news from Ironmouse. That's right, everybody's favorite VTuber had a bit of an unfortunate thing happen at TwitchCon. And no, it's not related to the fact that TwitchCon staff were making VTubers remove their mask at the entrance in front of the public, which could have accidentally revealed people's faces. That's a whole different can of worms. What Ironmouse was talking about was the fact that, unfortunately, every single gift that anybody gave to Ironmouse at the convention was completely lost and thrown away by the convention staff. Personally, I think thrown away probably means taken home, but I can't prove that, so we're gonna have to take them at their word the way Ironmouse is. She said, "I deeply apologize to all the VTubers and fans who had meet and greets at the VTuber booth this year. It breaks my heart to know staff threw out all the gifts. I should have known better than to trust them and taken care of everything ahead of time. I am so sorry, everyone." Now, of course, this wasn't Ironmouse's fault. She's apologizing because it was her event. She had the booth where all these VTubers were having their meet and greets, so she feels responsible, but she really shouldn't. In reality, it seems like a simple miscommunication that got everything thrown away, but it's still, terrible. I mean, all these people spent all this time and money bringing stuff to their favorite VTubers, and then all got thrown out. And when I say VTubers, it's because it's not just Ironmouse. You had other VTubers like Henya say, "Unfortunately, due to a miscommunication or misunderstanding, any gifts or presents given to my meet and greet staff were disposed of by the venue staff. I am very sorry for anyone who gave me a gift." And then on top of Ironmouse and Henya, we also had somebody named Phoebe-chan who was saying that she was informed that the gifts people brought for her at the TwitchCon meet and greet were thrown out by con/venue staff. "I spoke to each of you about how excited I was to open your gifts, and I know you took the time and effort. I'm still grateful, but I'm so sorry I couldn't see them." Now, why did this happen? Well, obviously it's a miscommunication, but in reality, TwitchCon was just badly run. So essentially, another VTuber I saw asked why this happened, and somebody replied with the fact that it was a meet and greet booth put on by Ironmouse where she hosted a bunch of different VTubers. So if any of these VTubers on this list probably all lost their gifts that were given to them at the event. You had Pia Pufo, Ironmouse, Shuto, Henya, Froggy Lowen, Ironmouse again, Vichiban, Rose Doodle, Kuro, Ironmouse again, Phoebe-chan, and Ariel. I'm sure I butchered some of those names, so please don't hold me to account for my Japanese in the comments section, but essentially because of this miscommunication, which I don't even know if it was really a miscommunication. I think maybe they just left the stuff on a table and a janitor came around. That's what this guy thinks. I think that's probably correct, because obviously the VTubers themselves are not actually appearing at the booth. They do like this weird thing with a tablet that has their VTuber model on it, and they're streaming into that tablet so the people can see them and they can react to the people. So obviously the staff at the booth are then taking the gifts and putting them somewhere for them to come and collect later. And by doing that, God knows exactly where they went. They probably put them on a table behind the booth, and then that table got cleared out probably by a janitor, or just TwitchCon staff decided to get rid of it when they were tearing everything down at the end of the con. But we won't know exactly until Ironmouse makes a full statement. In general, the entire thing was badly run. I mean, we actually had another VTuber, Chibidoki, talking about how her meet and greet was cut short because these TwitchCon staff just lied to the people in line. So you have Chibidoki posting a tweet saying, "Can anyone else from my meet and greet vouch for this? We were told to stop. I am so incredibly sad if this is true. I was genuinely so excited to meet everyone. They told us we had to end for safety." But then she's responding to this tweet here that says, "The stuff that happened yesterday was horrible," referring to the Emiru thing, but they specifically said that if a creator wanted to meet everyone in the line, that they moved to a separate area. However, all of us were told to leave because you weren't feeling well and couldn't meet with more people. So the TwitchCon staff told the people in Chibidoki's line that she was sick and couldn't meet with anybody else, when obviously Doki here is saying that that is entirely untrue. She says, "I never even told any staff I am sick. I'm so confused. I showed up and asked if we could wait for her friend before going out. That's the only time staff talked to me in the meet and greet area before telling us to cut the line short. I'm so sorry if this is true." And so then you have down here her saying, "They told everyone I ended my meet and greet. I'm so sad." And then somebody else responded and said, "Yeah, they straight up told us they were kicking us out because you couldn't talk anymore and we were ending early. We had seen the tweets, so we were like, oh, understandable. But then after the meet and greet, we met up and you said what you did and we kind of question mark. And Chibidoki said, "That is a straight up lie. I was feeling better and talking normally. I'm seriously so sorry. I recall us being told that you and another VTuber had to end the meet and greet because you weren't feeling well. I'm so heartbroken and confused. I only told Twitter I was sick, never told any staff. We were at level 10 energy the entire time. Why would this happen? They told us to stop for safety." So basically what happened was TwitchCon staff told Doki that they had to stop for safety reasons because of the situation that had happened to another streamer. However, it seems like they didn't want to take the heat for canceling the meet and greets for safety reasons, so they just lied to the people in line and gave them a fake reason of her being sick, and that's why they were cutting it short. She's a VTuber. Her being sick doesn't mean she has to cut anything short. She's literally streaming in from her living room in her pajamas. It doesn't even make any sense if you think about it for 2 seconds. But one of the reasons that TwitchCon was so obviously bad this year is almost certainly coming down to the management at Twitch. You might have heard a thing or two about Twitch CEO Dan Clancy. People have been talking about how unprofessional he is and how much he tries to fit in with the actual streamers and pretends that he is a streamer himself. And to that end, we actually had a statement from Scarra, which is not somebody that I would think would be involved in this drama, drama, but Scarra actually pointed out that he heard a rumor that Dan Clancy was out a lot of nights with young girls around him. And by young, he means like 20s. When you consider that Dan Clancy is like 60 years old, that's a little freaky. Let's listen to exactly what Scarra had to say right after you hit that like button. Seriously, it really helps me out.
I've heard, like, this one was crazy. I heard Dan Clancy was out a lot of nights with young girls around him, which, whatever, man. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But like, it just felt like this con felt so fucking weird, man. Whatever. Like, last year I told myself I don't like TwitchCon, and so many people were like, "Why do you like TwitchCon?" And I'm like, well, how long do we have? But even more problems end up popping up, and really, I think that this is going to be one of the last TwitchCons that people go to.
That's right, you just heard veteran streamer Scarra point out that he heard rumors about Dan Clancy hanging out with young women, like women in their 20s. Dan Clancy being a older gentleman, a more mature gentleman as they'd say. It's a little weird for him to be hanging out with 20-year-old girls, at least in my opinion, probably in your opinion, and especially after what happened at TwitchCon. TwitchCon was riddled with safety issues, logistics issues, security issues. Like, come on guys, you threw out all the VTubers gifts. You couldn't keep Emiru safe. Was there anything that you did do? In fact, one of the things Emiru said in her press conference was that after everything happened to her, that night, she heard that there were Twitch executives, which Asmongold says she was referring to Dan Clancy when talking about this. Those executives were out drinking that night after what happened to her instead of actually dealing with the security issues. So obviously, I think that there's a big problem with the culture at Twitch. I think that nobody at Twitch actually wants to do their jobs. That's what it seems like. They all want to party, they want to be streamers, but they don't want to be actual executives who are responsible for a massive multi-million-dollar event, because that's what TwitchCon is. And as Scarra says, he thinks this is going to be one of the last TwitchCons because nobody's going to go to any other ones. And that's the same thing Asmongold said in my video yesterday. Who would go to another TwitchCon after they were unable to keep people safe at this one? Like, let's just be frank, Emiru could have died. If the guy who came up to her had any intent to do something like that, she could be dead right now. And that's not cool, that's not fair. And I think the Twitch CEO needs to be somebody who's not trying to hang out with young streamers while pretending to be a streamer himself and then also drinking, right? I feel like you should be more professional than that. Of course, I'm just assuming the rumors are true. They may not be true. They are just rumors. However, based on everything I know about Dan Clancy and all the rumors that I've heard since he became CEO, I wouldn't be surprised if they were true, but I can't say for sure that they are. I'm just saying that it's weird that their executive team seems to be completely incompetent, and leading that team is Dan Clancy, who he himself seems to be doing some weird stuff all the time. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anybody say anything good about him except that he's nice and that he's involved in Twitch, which Emmett Shear, the last CEO before him, was not. He had nothing to do with Twitch. So I think they went from one guy who cared absolutely nothing about Twitch and was not involved at all to a guy who now just wants to be a Twitch streamer. He wants to be the next Hassan. I feel like they need someone in the middle who likes Twitch but doesn't want to be a Twitch streamer running the company. I don't know if they can come back from this. Do you guys think that there will ever be another TwitchCon? Because personally, I don't. I could see them bringing it back if they replace the executive team and they have people who actually really care about safety and keeping people informed about what's going on, and also just professionalism. They need to improve their professionalism all around. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and God bless you.